Realize that was
that's the thing.
straightforward.
I prefer when someone is straightforward, especially about my money.
Yeah.
That's the name of personal finance expert Ramit Sethi's New York Times best-selling book. He also has a hit show on Netflix right now. It is called How to Get Rich.
I'm Ramit Sethi. I'm a New York Times best-selling author, and I teach people how to live their rich life.
I don't know how to start.
You have a checking account for your dog and not a retirement account.
You don't need to call me out like that, even though that's why you're here.
Why do I feel like that's a conundrum I would find myself in?
Because it is.
With Mr. Luigi. All right, Ramit Sethi joins us live this morning. Hello, welcome to New York Living. We are all ears for this one, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah. We were just talking about some of the New York places he loves.
A 10-year veteran of New York.
Yeah.
I come back here and I have my list, things that my wife and I want to go to.
Yeah.
Of course, Joe's Pizza, we start there. Yes. Go to KO, a Laotian restaurant in Tribeca.
Yes.
Oh.
It's really good. It's awesome. And then, you know, there's a few other places in the West Village, EN Brasserie.
The West Village is really just popping off with all the good food these days.
And you got to pop into the bodega every now and again.
Of course.
For a little bacon and cheese.
That's
right.
Okay, we want to know how to get rich.
Talk to us about the
Please.
show.
Netflix show.
Well, can I tell you, first of all, when people talk about money, do you notice that there's always someone who comes on and they tell you to cut back on lattes and on your and you're just like,
My
I don't want to
The
listen.
Starbucks, yeah.
It's
Save
not
the
me.
$5.
It's not me.
Okay. good.
Because
I like the sound of this.
Yes.
First of all, $5 is really not going to change your financial life.
That's right.
And second of all, if you love it, spend it. Now, you got to know your numbers. You got to make sure you can afford it. But I don't like the advice that is all about money being restrictive. I think you should spend extravagantly on the things you love, as long as you cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't.
Okay. He said mercilessly.
But I also said extravagantly.
Extravagant. Yeah, I'm going to be mercilessly
There's a lot of big words
extravagant.
being thrown around here. This is not the way I thought this interview was going to go. I like this already. I'm going to hire you as my personal finance manager here. So you say you want to help people design their rich life.
Yeah.
So talk to us about what exactly that means, designing your rich life.
Yeah, almost like you're painting for the first time. It doesn't have to be perfect, but a rich life should be very personal and vivid to you. So your rich life could be traveling for 2 months a year. It could be buying a beautiful cashmere coat. Or it could be picking up your children from school every afternoon. Your rich life should be yours, and that's really the way it should be.
Right.
Okay.
I like that you added that caveat that did not include a price tag, which is picking your child up or having the luxury of taking a
Rich,
stroll.
not in the monetary sense.
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly.
I got you.
Because that has its weight in gold.
Can't
but
put a price on that, yeah.
you do have to have a modicum of financial stability.
You do.
order
Knowing
to
your
be able to-
numbers is important.
Right.
And so when we talk about a rich life, yeah, there are things that you can't quantify, but you've also got to know some basic numbers. Right. And I think this is where we often go wrong. We start to say, it's overwhelming, I don't understand ratios, I need to become some stock expert. No, money's actually quite simple. Just in the same way we learn the basic language of food, the basic language of driving on the road, we got to learn the basic language of money. It's not that hard.
It's so true, and you keep saying know your numbers, and that it can be overwhelming, and I feel like you're describing me, and I'd like to think I have a good sense on, you know, I don't live in excess, but I like to have a good
treat
time.
yourself,
I feel like it can be a taboo thing, too, to talk about money.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, and to your point, I do get overwhelmed. Maybe I'm not the best on my numbers. Maybe I need to hire somebody. It gets to be the point where it's like, okay, I don't want to know. Like the clip that we showed of the guy, he's like, I feel like you're attacking me, and then people force you to take this look at it, and then it's like, oh, it got really real. And some people are like, no, I don't want to. So like, what are some of the most? Talk to us about that. The common money questions that you get asked, and how
other than how to be rich.
Yeah, and
how to be rich.
Really,
is it too late for me? How do I even get started? So let me tell you 4 numbers that I track. These are the 4 numbers you've got to track.
The pen.
The first one, your fixed costs. And I recommend between 50 to 60% of your take-home pay. So that would be your rent or mortgage, any debt, car payments, groceries, all that. The next is your savings, 5 to 10%. Investments, 5 to 10%. I'd like to see it higher, but okay. And then finally, my favorite one, guilt-free spending.
There we go.
And this is 20 to 35% of your take-home pay. So when people go, wait, that's a lot of money. That could be going out, could be food, travel, anything you love.
Wellness.
Exactly. And so once you know those numbers, most of us don't even know those numbers. Then it's like a puzzle. You can decide, what do I want to spend more on?
Right.
What do I need to save for? And what do I not really care about at all? Let me get rid of that.
Now you're the expert. I have a good old-fashioned spiral notebook.
Okay.
And I have my version of what you just said. I had the non-negotiables, the rent, the utilities, the car payment, the school payment. How do you keep track? The nails. How do you keep track of all of this?
I track those 4 numbers. Those are the only ones that I really care about. Trust me, I do not track the price of asparagus at the grocery store. That's my personal hell, having to track every last number. Like, why? I don't want to live that kind of life. So as long as I'm hitting my savings goals, which are automatic, my investments, which are automatic, what I do is once a year, I sit down, my wife and I go through our numbers from last year, we talk about next year, and we know basically every month we're going to spend basically the same on groceries. We're going to spend over the course of a year basically the same on travel. And so 1 month might be up, 1 month might be down, but we know it's sort of average.
Break even.
Within that,
Very interesting. Okay, so one thing that comes up.
So no spiral notebook.
I mean, if you want to do it, if it works,
are you all
I'm all for it.
technology? Are you in Excel? Like,
yes, but you know what? If that's what works for you, I'm all for it.
Marisol's got her kids in the back taking notes with like a little hat on with a green visor. One thing that comes up in the show is renting versus buying. And so buying...
And we're asking for a friend, and by friends we mean us.
Can we talk about this? Okay. America is obsessed with owning houses, and it is not always the right financial decision.
Thank you. Louder for the people in the back.
Listen, in America, we have these phrases. They're so simplistic. You're throwing money away on rent. Funny, they never say you're throwing money away at a restaurant. You're paying your landlord's mortgage. Oh, they never say you're paying the sushi restaurant owner's mortgage. We have these phrases because in America, we think success is owning a house. I lived in LA, San Francisco, New York. I rented in each of those cities. I could buy right now, but it was a better financial decision for me to rent. So you've got to run the numbers on the biggest purchase of your life.
That's right. Especially with interest rates, especially with how much you're going to put down up front. There's a lot.
And
you are telling the truth here.
The spiral notebook.
Exactly.
There's a special section for housing. I feel like that's just such an antiquated perspective. Maybe, but the interest rates. When my parents bought their first house, the interest rates, let alone the cost of the house, it's a different time. I feel like you have to live in the now to some degree and realize what the.
Think it was also part of the American dream. It was like we got
white picket fence,
thinking the American dream was owning
That's right.
a home.
The American dream cannot be buying a single commodity. That's right. The American dream has got to be bigger and more textured than that. And if you want to buy, great, you run the numbers. But if you want to rent and invest the difference, or travel, or never have to go to a maintenance store, also fine.
Okay.
Okay.
As we wind down, you work with a lot of couples. One thing you mention is you talk about joint accounts, and you have a specific opinion about this. What is it?
It's okay to have joint accounts. If it were up to me, I would encourage couples to have a joint account and then 2 individual accounts, no questions asked. But I'll tell you something surprising. It's not having joint accounts that keeps couples together. It's the fact that most couples don't talk about money. They don't sit down. If they do talk about it, they tend to combine accounts. But if they talk about it and they keep it separate, that's fine. You just got to talk about money regularly.
It's a hard conversation to have for some people, but we need to do it.
Can we call you when we start doing it?
Anytime.
I'm gonna conference you in when I talk to Mr. Juliano on Friday night.
Ramit Sethi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.